Hi, this is Calise with Boris Effects, and today I'd like to introduce all you DaVinci Resolve users out there to Mocha in BCC PixelChooser. In this short demo, I'm going to show you how the PixelChooser can be opened inside of the BCC Beauty Studio to isolate skin smoothing and retouching to specific tracked masks. For those of you already familiar with Resolve, you might be asking, well, why do I need another tracker? Resolve already has a powerful tracker. And this is true, however, Mocha is different from other trackers because one, it's a planar tracker, which means it uses tracked planes across a shot instead of points. And two, because of the ability to create multiple tracks and link the shapes together, which is unique to Mocha. Mocha's planar tracking is the industry standard tool for rotoscoping and motion tracking, and now in BCC 10 we've combined it with all the other Boris effects that you already know and love, making it a very powerful tool. One quick note, for this tutorial I'm going to be using BCC 10.0.2, which is now shipping with fully integrated Mocha planar tracking and masking technology found in the PixelChooser. Please note, for new Mocha features to work in Resolve, users must be running 12.5 Studio version of Resolve and the new BCC 10.0.2 point release. So, without further ado, I'm going to open up Resolve. And here in the media palette, I have my footage that I've already browsed to using Resolve's standard media browser. And I'm going to drag my footage that I want to touch up into my media pool like you would any other Resolve project. And I'm going to switch over to the Edit tab and take my footage once again and drag it into the timeline to create a new timeline. And here it is. We can see we can scrub through it. And I'm just going to touch up this woman's skin a little bit using BCC Beauty Studio. So I'm going to jump over into the Color tab. And I have my node here, my node tree. And I'm going to browse for BCC Beauty Studio, which is found in the Boris Continuum Complete image restorations category. If you don't want to type it up here, it's just in that category. And click here and drag it onto my node. And the first thing I want to do in BCC Beauty Studio is set my smoothing so that I can smooth out some of the features in this woman's skin really quick. So I'm just going to do that very, very quickly here. Okay, so now I have some smoothing that I'm happy with. But if I go down to the bottom of our list of parameters in our OpenEffects palette, I have this checkbox that says View Mask Matte. And I'm going to check that just so I can show you how much of the frame Beauty Studio is going to be affecting. And if I check it, I'm seeing that some of this woman's skin tones are highlighted, and that's because if I go down into this matte category, Beauty Studio defaults to European skin tones. I'm going to turn this off just because I want to get a little bit better of a matte before I go and mask out parts of her face that I do and do not want to touch up. So I'm going to select this eyedropper and select a dark portion of this woman's face, and then select this one and get a lighter portion. So now I have something that matches her skin tone a little bit better than our preset colors. I'm going to check this again, and that looks much, much better. It's a good matte. I'm happy with that matte. But if I turn this off, you can see that her chest is already pretty blurred out, and I don't really need to do any beauty correction to that. If I use my shortcut Command D to disable all the effects on this node, you'll see the original image here. And actually, I like her chest smoothing levels, and that looks pretty good to me. If I turn it back on, see, it blurs it out a little bit more. I don't really need that, and I also don't like the way that it's blurring this line between her chin and the background, which is her neck and the upper part of her chest. And also what Beauty Studio is doing here is it's fuzzing out a little bit of her lips and a little in the eyes. So if I toggle this back and forth a couple of times, you'll see what I'm talking about here. See, off, we have much more detail in her lips and her eyes. Back on, it started to blur a couple of these things out. Even though I like what it's doing to her forehead and parts of her cheek, I just want to be able to isolate that and retain this line, and I don't really want to work with that. So this is where Mocha comes in handy, because now built into VCC PixelChooser, I already have my matte turned on like we just did, but I can actually isolate the parts of this matte that I want to apply my filter to. And obviously in this tutorial, I'm just demoing this with BCC Beauty Studio, but this will work with any other Boris effects that contain the PixelChooser. So if you want to use Mocha to drive lens flares or color correction or corner pinning, you can do all of that using this same process. So in any case, I'm going to click my Launch Mocha button here, and it is going to bring up the Mocha UI. Now, for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm really just trying to give everyone a sense of this workflow within DaVinci Resolve. If you need a little more help on the tracking process in Mocha, I'd highly encourage you to check out Imagineer's website. There are hundreds of great tutorials there for you to check out, which will walk you through this process. But I'm just going to speed this up for the sake of time here. Okay, so now that I've done all the tracking that I need to do, I'm going to select all my layers and just turn on my mattes so I can show you exactly what I've masked out in this shot. So now if I play through here, you'll see all of this shaded white area is the areas that I want to touch up in my final effect. So as I scrub through, you'll see I've cut a hole out for her lips, so I'm going to retain all of the detail there. And as her eyes open, I've cut out holes for her eyes, so we can retain all of the detail there as well. And we get a nice smooth track, follows her head as she shakes a little bit through the shot, which is great. And I'm done in Mocha. I'm going to hit my Save button here and close out and go back to the Resolve UI. And now you'll see if I toggle this effect on and off again just by using my shortcuts, Command D to disable all of the nodes in the node tree, you'll see I'm smoothing out all of the places in her forehead, on her cheeks, but we're retaining all of the detail in her eyes and her lips and down on her chest below. And an easier way to see that is if I go back to my View Mask checkbox and I turn that on, you'll see, if you remember from before, her whole face was covered in white and so was her chest, and now we've just restricted it to her face and we've used Mocha to mask out the areas we don't want the effect to be applied to. And that's it. I'm done. Thanks for watching the tutorial. Be sure to check out more of our tutorials online at borisfx.com. Thanks.